Okay, my friends, family, and I think colleagues, uh, since new people which are not familiar with my work are stumbling onto my videos or articles without really having deeper understanding of the protocol, they're starting drinking water with sea salt. And of course, reactions happen, which scares people, especially when we are programmed to believe how salt is very toxic and dangerous for us, and we should keep away from it. So let me just read the letter I received from one of such individuals that has recently started drinking plasma. I started protocol on the 15th, which today is 20th. I received this yesterday, so it's like 4 days you drinking the plasma. Since then, I have edema, especially in the morning. My whole body is swollen, especially around eyes, which is alarming. I'm worried about my kidneys because that usually, we are told swelling around the eyes, kidneys are not working. It's not true. Okay, so anyway, this is concern. And since starting, I have to pee many times a day, which also I feel bloated. I wonder if I'm drinking too much plasma. I'm trying to drink 3 liters. The last 2 days, I also have trouble sleeping. What else is there? I wake up several times during the night, which is normal because you have to urinate, you are cleansing. And yeah, she has a diet which is okay. Eats beef and organs, mostly raw, sometimes sauteed, left carbohydrates. Okay, and stool was normal, no diarrhea. Okay, so basically this is okay, but okay. I don't know if since starting I can hear my own snore. Okay, and snoring has started because now she is aware that she is snoring. Before she didn't feel like she was snoring. Okay, so the most troubling to people part is swelling. Because why? We are being told by our indoctrination agents, called teachers, professors, that when we take salt, the salt is going to hold water. So more salt you take, the more water you're going to hold, which will then cause water retention and increase blood pressure and destroy kidneys. This is what we are being told. And of course, this is what people think. This is the first thing that comes to the mind when things start happening and let you know that you took salt. This would not happen if you just drink plain water. Why not? Because body cannot hold water without proper mineralization because it affects electroconductivity. So as soon as you drink plain water, you're actually diluting electrolytes. Electroconductivity is worsening, so body is a robot, self-maintaining robot that immediately starts adjusting to eliminate the problem. It eliminates water that it cannot bond to minerals. So you will urinate and you will actually more dehydrate because with this, whenever you're urinating, you are losing minerals. And since you did not bring many of them, you will urinate out more than you brought in. So you're actually demineralizing your body and you can hold less and less water by doing so. Fortunately, body can go into the bones and take salt out from the bones for some time. Part of the osteoporosis is not because you have no calcium depositing, but also you are taking salt out because you don't get it through the food. So body has to supply it for emergencies from somewhere. It will do it from the bones. So why is this happening? In some people not. Because the more toxic tissue you have, the more water you are going to hold there. I explained that when our blood is poorly hydrated and cannot afford to waste plasma to cleanse, and the toxins are not terribly problematic, the body is going to try to cleanse those toxins out of the blood. So it is going to shove them in tissue, usually subcutaneous, but any connective tissue will do. And including it may crystallize it there and crystallize it in some organs like kidneys, for example, or gallbladder. Now, why is this problem? Because when you start hydrating correctly, you actually start rising plasma level in the blood. You are diluting. This is the only way to dilute blood. Taking blood thinners is actually taking away ability of the blood to coagulate, which leads to stroke. You get stroke when you take anticoagulants, not because some coagulus occurs and it affects the brain to get brain stroke or even heart stroke. It's very seldom could happen something like this. With the brain, I don't think it's even a possibility, but with heart, yes. If you had some accident or big injury and then you have then you have a coagulant there, and if it breaks loose, yeah, it can happen. So after accidents, yeah, you should be taking anticoagulants for some time until it all heals, and then you stop. Because it's a danger taking anticoagulants, because usually in elderly toxic people, blood vessels are brittle. And if you step a little harder and you shake your brain a little bit and you crack a little artery there, you have to have the ability of the blood to coagulate, not to keep seeping out. If it cannot coagulate properly, it will be seeping out and it creates tamponade. It is going to prevent part of the brain gaining oxygen. And this creates stroke from blood thinners, which are actually anticoagulants. So don't use blood thinners, anticoagulants for extended period of time. Every medication is only for emergency purposes only, not to be stuffed by them the rest of your life, as the 007 agents are telling you. They are airheads. Yes, colleagues, we are frequent airheads. Those are most obvious things that you should notice. Not follow the leader. Follow your reasoning. Okay, so why the problem with edema in some people? If they have been with dehydrated blood for a longer time, the longer they are in this position, the more toxins, they may not be strong toxins, but you get high accumulation of them, and mostly in the tissue. Because a robot, our body, is programmed to separate, to make sure that blood stays as clean as possible. And now when you start hydrating with regular water, you're not really hydrating. Okay, you are basically a little bit cleansing, but mostly you are demineralizing yourself. So you're dehydrating yourself. But when you start taking water with salt, you're actually taking plasma. You are hydrating with what your body needs. And you start increasing the level of plasma immediately, which means level of blood. You are thinning your blood. Your thick blood is becoming thinner because it gets hydrated. So you get more plasma in a square or cubic inch or centimeter of space. Less blood cells, more plasma. It's diluting, which is proper state. This is why children have a very thin, bright blood, very liquidy. As we get older, blood gets darker, it gets pastier, it's much heavier, because it's dehydrated. So, as you're hydrating the blood, you're actually creating more blood, which means your lymph levels are rising, because this blood, as blood goes through aorta, then goes to smaller arteries, then arterioles, very small arteries, and then it goes into lymphatic system. The blood vessels become so small, so tiny, that red blood cell cannot enter, and a lot of garbage cannot enter. And this is what we call a lymph. It's a blood without red blood cells. Ultimately, most places in the body are only reached by plasma, by lymph or blood plasma, without red blood cells and without a lot of garbage that is in the blood. But here also, you are going to, these toxins are very small. So they can penetrate with plasma. They go. And they go with lymph, and they enter these places, and they get stuck there. And now when you start hydrating, you increase level of lymph. Lymphatic flow is better. Lymph goes into the tissue, and since the tissue is toxic, the lymph becomes toxic. And by the program, toxic lymph is being kept away from the bloodstream, because blood has to be kept as clean as possible, and unless it is well hydrated and able to eliminate, the toxic lymph is going to be sheltered away. It will slowly, you still have the lymphatic system going and moving, but much slower, and it does not enter the blood in a rate it should, because it's overly toxic. Those are programs that run this robot. And because this happens, you start accumulating lymph in your tissue, and you start swelling. Your skin will puff up wherever it's toxin, usually subcutaneous tissue underneath the skin, and it puff up. Eyes, eyelids. Eyes are usually, around the eyes is usually more toxic. Eyes are strictly supplied through lymphatic system. Otherwise, you won't be able to see. Red blood cells would be in your way. So, you have to understand, when you start hydrating, part of this hydration is not going to be just blood. It is going to be lymph. So you are loading on lymph, and lymph becomes toxic in the tissue and cannot go out in the same speed. It is all controlled by programs that check how much of this lymph, toxic lymph, they can accept and eliminate. And if you are still low in a level of plasma in the blood, then the mechanism calculates, well, we cannot really eliminate this stuff, so let's keep it where it is. It's a programming. I'm always saying our robot is not working on consciousness. It's a programmed electromagnetic robot. And it obeys programs. You can change the programs consciously, but it's not easy. It is, you first have to become conscious, and we all live in this ego state that only knows the reality it sees, has no clue about anything else. The truth comes from our soul, but we don't connect, we don't listen. We listen to the mind, we listen to the programs, we listen to what we hear. Everything what we hear becomes a new program that we start obeying. Plus the original programs we are born with, which are in the reptilian small brain. So, as you start drinking plasma, the more toxic your tissue is, the more water retention you are going to experience. Plasma, yes, you cannot say it's not causing it. Yes, plasma is causing it, but not because salt is bad for you. It is because your body is toxic. And the purpose you are drinking plasma is to detoxify, to cleanse the body. If you don't want to detoxify, don't drink salt water. So if you want to heal, you have to detoxify. Well, not necessarily. You can use your mind. You can just raise your cellular voltage and you will be healthy. And no matter how toxic your body is, you will not show this because the way you feel does not reflect on how clean or toxic your body is. The toxicity only becomes recognizable to you when it is in the blood, not when it's in the tissue or in the cells. It has the level of toxicity of cells and tissue has to be extremely strong to start producing visible problems. And since a lot of these toxins are embedded in subcutaneous tissue, then whenever you are sweating, wherever you are sweating more, this is where the toxins with the sweat, which is plasma, water with mineral, it's salty. Lick it, no, sweat is salty. You are also pushing toxins out through this area. And these are the areas where you stink more because toxins smell bad. So the more you stink underarms, the more toxic you are. Okay? The more you stink in the crotch, the more toxic you are. Because this is where you sweat more. Women, underneath the breast, there's overlap, there's no ventilation. The place, the area heats up more, need more lymph to come to cool them, creates sweating. And then, of course, toxins come out. So what we know of these places, they are the first ones that will develop rash. What is rash? Rash is a damage caused by toxins coming out of the body. If you have rash on the skin, your body is very toxic. No creams are going to help you. Yeah, they will suppress the sweating from that area and things will calm down. But as soon as you don't have this toxic cream, it explodes again because this is already injured area. So that's how things work. Unknown to 007 agents because they never told us this stuff in the school. Why? Because they only feed us with lies to create 007 agents. License to kill. You get license, you can do what you are told to do. Kill people, make them sick. This is what doctors are trained to do. There's no doubt about it. Just look at the stupid things. Well, if you want to cleanse and you want to do the protocol and you start hydrating with plasma and you start having strong symptoms like water retention, either go and read a bunch of my articles. You can on my site, which there is a shortcut. Every end of my video has a link to my site. So you go on my site, in the search window, you just put the keyword, let's say retention. And articles will pop out. Read those articles, learn about it. Don't use knowledge from the school because it's wrong. Purposely, we are being misled. They say, oh, yeah, retention, you see salt, you see, you're retaining. Well, what happens with elderly in hospices? They all have water retention. None of them is taking any salt, not even water. And they have water retention because they are so toxic, creating so much toxicity in the tissue that when lymph goes there, it is not allowed to go out because it's overly toxic. And then some sudden shift in environment happens, like sudden cold temperature, or you get hit by rain and you suddenly feel very cold. Well, this is sudden change of the environment. It could be also fear. Something scares you very much. This environment is your electromagnetic frequency. Shift in the frequency. Could be caused by many things. It's sudden, so body genetically has no time to adjust to it. So it goes into defense mode. It crunches. Closes membranes, but as it crunches, squeezes like a dirty sponge. When you touch it a little bit, cloud of dirt comes out of it if it's in the water. Same happens with the cells. They pollute the blood suddenly. And blood was already toxic. Tissue is toxic. There's no way much to offload this much toxin that comes from the cells. We go into symptoms of flu. Highly toxic blood, we call it septicemia. Creates headache, blurred vision, pain, muscular pain, joint pain. Wherever tissue is already damaged and highly toxic, dehydrated, this is where you feel it the most. And fever. Body tries to increase heat to sweat, to push toxins out through the skin. And then, as the blood becomes highly toxic, or the robot may go in overdrive to speed up the blood circulation to cleanse the blood faster. You go into tachycardia. Requires more oxygen. You go into hyperventilation or oxygen starvation if you don't breathe deeply, creating more pain. All these are symptoms of flu. There is no virus anywhere. It's energetic shift and response of toxic body. The more toxic you are, the stronger symptoms of flu you are going to have. And then if you're scared on top of it, because someone told you that some Zoomzula came that is going to now kill all the population, the fear robs you of energy. Your vibration cannot be sustained, so it shifts very easily. Your body collapses. We call this flu. Very toxic people may die in the flu. This is what happens to many elderly, chronically ill people. So you don't want to go too quickly into detox if you're overly toxic. This is why I say, I don't say when you purchase the protocol, you make donation to get a protocol. Then it's not automated. I always make a note with this protocol, especially if you are medicated or if you have chronic symptoms of diseases, so-called. Have a consultation, allow me to guide you, or on my site, there are several other healers mentioned in foreign languages that you can approach and ask them to guide you. Important, because you have to get the fear away. And you have to understand actually what is happening so you are not frightened. Because if you use your knowledge that's given to you by the misinformation agents, teachers, professors, then you are going to be in fear because you don't understand correctly what is happening in your body. We should not be afraid of water retention. We just have to learn how to deal with it. And I made a video also that shows you how you can use salt as a diuretic. Salt can hydrate you, but it can also dehydrate you. It all depends how you use it. And sometimes you actually have to go for medicinal remedy. Diuretic is one of the medicinal remedies which is beneficial. Sometimes even analgesic, painkiller. But you don't stay on them. You just take it for purpose instantly. Maybe repeat it once or twice. And then there will be no more need for it. So you are not staying on this medication for longer than a few days. No medication should be used more than a week. 2 weeks max. So, again, learning truth. It's only information. And if you want to heal, you cannot go and research any of the medicinal channels or medical channels. Not only the allopathic ones like Mayo Clinic and WebMD and all that stuff, but not even the supplements, because it's the same damn thing. It's no different. Like there's difference. They all use the same science. They have all the scientific explanation, which are all wrong. Only they use maybe less toxic stuff. And they understand a little bit better that at least they know this is toxic. You cannot take it for a long time. Use it for a week or two. Which allopathic doctors, they are being brainwashed into, this, how long you have to, forever. This is it. This is your food now. Okay. It is not so. So don't be afraid if you start retaining water. Another thing is increased blood pressure. If you're healthy, no matter how much salt you take, blood pressure is not going to go up. If you're not healthy, if your blood vessels are rigid, they cannot absorb or dilate with every heartbeat to absorb the pressure. Your pressure within arteries will rise. But nobody dies from high blood pressure. Nobody. We die from the poison that is raising our blood pressure. So instead of worrying about blood pressure, worry about, okay, what is causing this? Why it is there? And solve that problem. And in majority cases, it's dehydration on a cellular level, which makes your blood vessel rigid. Blood vessels also have a line of muscles, we call them flat muscles. And like any other muscle, when it's composed of dehydrated cells, it loses tension and becomes brittle. Blood vessels will become brittle. You may have ruptures. One of these ruptures, when only the muscle ruptures, but not the tissue on the outside, we call it aneurysm. It's caused by dehydrated cells. Because blood plasma, there's not enough of it. And blood becomes more toxic, tissue becomes toxic. Hernias occur. Aneurysm is herniated blood vessel, artery. So, things are actually very simple. Science made them complicated as hell, just to confuse everybody. That's the purpose of science, confusing you. When you have water retention, you have to get this liquid out. You can force it out by further poisoning the blood so that the mechanism, the programs, change the calculation. It becomes more important to eliminate the toxin than to hold the plasma. And this is going to force the body to suck the liquid from your tissue into the blood to eliminate whatever is in the blood that has to be eliminated, that is problematic, more problematic than toxins which the body is sheltering itself that are in the tissue. This is your diuretic. What is diuretic? Almost every plant is diuretic, has diuretic effect. You drink coffee, you gotta urinate. Why? Toxic. The body, even when it's dehydrated, has to use plasma to cleanse the garbage out. And then we have experts of science of medicine, like Dr. Joseph Merkel, are saying, no, coffee is okay, just don't overdo it. Same is with alcohol. Same experts say, oh, red wine is good, antioxidants, it's good stuff, no, but don't overdo it. Tea, oh, good, yeah, green tea, but fabulous. Has a caffeine. And other stuff creates actually, or contributes to creation and creates it if you drink it in high doses of leukemia. Almost everything we are told is a lie. We have to wake up. Through my work, I disclose everything. I don't hold anything back. It's all out there. But there's a lot of material. So if you don't have the time, allow yourself to be guided. And yeah, of course, I like to receive donations because this is what I live from. I cannot work. I cannot have people coming to my house and me working with them. I'll be in the jail before you open your eyes. So I'm a teacher. And please, if you can, donate. And I will help. Even if you cannot afford to donate. I cannot refuse to help. We are in a quantum already. We have to understand that we are all one. We are all the same consciousness. And we have to help each other. So, no matter money, if you need help, I'm sure that any of the other people also listed on my site that volunteers to help will do it, money or no money. We just have to help each other to pass this riddle. Soon there will be no disease because we will wake up. Now we are awakening, but we still run on the old programs, which always give you finger whenever you think out of the box. And as long as there is a shadow of doubt, you will not manifest what you intend to manifest. So for now, it's still difficult, so we have to help each other. Thank you for listening. Till next time. Love you all. God bless you. Namaste.